There comes a moment in every person's life when they must decide. Will I keep hoping? Or will I finally take command? Wishing is easy. It's soft. It's convenient. It's the illusion of effort without the sacrifice of discipline. Wishing is what we whisper into the night when no one's listening. But demanding? Demanding is a declaration. A roar from the soul. A fire that consumes every excuse you've used to justify staying average. No one builds a legacy on wishes. No skyscraper has ever risen because someone merely hoped it would. No fortune has ever appeared because someone thought they deserved it. Every empire, every breakthrough, every revolution, was born when someone stopped asking for permission and started demanding more of themselves. You want to know the difference between the wealthy and the broke? The fulfilled and the empty? The lions and the sheep? It's not luck. It's not talent. It's not even intelligence. It's expectation. It's what they demand from life. And what they refuse to settle for. Henry Ford didn't wish for a better engine, he demanded his team build one. Edison didn't hope light would appear, he failed 10,000 times and still demanded the filament glow. Andrew Carnegie didn't sit in steel mills praying for opportunity, he carved out an empire with bloody hands and relentless clarity. They all learned one universal truth. Life gives you what you demand of it, no more, no less. But demand doesn't begin with shouting at the world. It begins with quiet clarity inside yourself. A line you draw in the sand. A contract signed in solitude that says, from this moment forward, I will no longer accept mediocrity from myself. Not in your thoughts. Not in your effort. Not in your health, your finances, your time, your focus, or your identity. This is the dividing line. Wishing will keep you comfortable. Demanding will make you dangerous. Because when you demand more, really demand it, something changes in you. You stop negotiating with weakness. You stop outsourcing your happiness. You stop waiting for someone to tell you it's time. You become the one who moves the clock forward. The world doesn't need more wishers. It's overflowing with them. People standing in front of vision boards hoping that success knocks without ever turning the doorknob. But the world bows to the relentless. The disciplined. The ones who take Napoleon Hill's words and turn them into blood, sweat, and momentum. What the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve. That's not poetry. That's law. But belief alone is not enough. Belief must be followed by demand. Demand fuels discipline. And discipline is the price of transformation. You don't get the body you dream about just by picturing it. You demand it through sweat. Through early mornings and late nights. Through saying no when everyone else is indulging. Through becoming a person who doesn't miss. Not because it's convenient, but because it's required. You don't build wealth by reading about it. You demand it by becoming a producer. By learning the rules of money and then playing to win. And when failure comes, and it will, it doesn't shake you. Because you weren't wishing for it to be easy. You were demanding it be worth it. There's something sacred about that shift. When you stop wishing you could become someone else. And start demanding you evolve into everything you were meant to be. You start walking differently. Talking differently. Thinking at a higher frequency. You don't waste energy on envy or comparison. Because when you demand the best of yourself, you have no time to care what anyone else is doing. You stop saying, why not me? And start declaring, it will be me. Because I refuse anything less. This world is loud. It's chaotic. It tries to distract you, dilute you, define you. But those who rise are those who decide, once and for all, that they will no longer ask life to be fair. They will force life to deliver. Not because they're entitled. Not because they're lucky. But because they've paid the price in thought, in work, in sacrifice. They've suffered. They've failed. They've stood alone when everyone else walked away. And they've stood taller because of it. Clarity is not a luxury. It is the foundation. The compass that cuts through the fog of distraction, opinion, and noise. A person without clarity is like a ship without a rudder, adrift, reactive, fragile. One wave of adversity and they're gone. But the person who knows what they want, why they want it, and what price they're willing to pay to get it. That person is unstoppable. Clarity is power. Because when your vision is sharp, your decisions become automatic. Your habits align. Your energy becomes sacred. You don't ask if today is the day to take action. You act because the vision demands it. Look at Walt Disney. Before there was Disneyland, there was mockery. There was bankruptcy. There were people telling him the idea was too childish, too expensive, too impossible. But he had clarity. He didn't just see rides and buildings, he saw magic. A world that didn't yet exist but already lived inside him. He didn't wish the dream would happen. He demanded it. And because he demanded it, he sacrificed, he planned, he executed, until fantasy became geography. That's what clarity does. It turns imagination into infrastructure. It turns someday into this day. But clarity is not found scrolling, comparing, or chasing trends. It is found in stillness. In the brutal, beautiful honesty of asking yourself, what do I really want? Who must I become to get it? And what am I willing to endure so I never settle for less? Most people never ask those questions. Or worse, they ask once, and forget. But the ones who rise, they live inside those questions. They revisit them daily. They write their vision in ink and revisit it when the world tries to shake their certainty. And here's the truth most won't tell you. Action without clarity is wasted effort. But clarity without action is delusion. It's not enough to know what you want. You must move. You must do. Not when it's convenient. Not when it feels safe. Not when everyone approves. Now. Right now. Before you're ready. Before the fear fades. Before the moment passes you by and becomes another chapter of regret. People don't fail because they don't dream. They fail because they never start. And if they start, they stop the moment it gets hard. But listen carefully. The path to everything you want is through resistance. Not around it. Not above it. Through. Action is not just a physical step. It is a spiritual declaration that says, I believe so deeply in this vision that I will endure everything necessary to bring it to life. When Napoleon Hill spoke of faith, he wasn't talking about passive hope. He meant a faith backed by action, discipline, and emotional intensity. The kind of faith that shows up every day, even when you don't feel like it. The kind of faith that works in silence while others post in noise. The kind of faith that builds brick by brick while the world sleeps. Because you know what's coming. You've already seen it, in your mind, in your gut, in your spirit. And now your job is to demand it from your hands. This is where most people turn back. Not because they aren't capable. But because they refuse to believe the pain of transformation is worth the freedom of greatness. But you, if you're still here, you're not most people. You've felt the sting of staying small. You've tasted the regret of almost. You've seen the cost of hesitation. And you're done with it. So let this be the moment you no longer wish to change. Let this be the moment you demand it. With your thoughts. With your time. With your energy, your relationships, your choices. No more negotiating with the weaker version of you. No more asking life to give you what you've refused to earn. The demand must echo in everything you do. Because this world does not respect effort without direction. It respects those who walk like kings and queens long before they wear the crown. Because they know it's already theirs. Not by blood, but by belief. By battle. By becoming. Purpose is not a luxury reserved for the chosen few. It is the fuel of the relentless. It is the fire beneath every act of greatness. Without it, action is noise. Movement becomes distraction. And success becomes hollow. Purpose is what makes the grind worth it. It's the answer to why you rise when others stay asleep. It's the reason you fight for more when no one's watching, no one's clapping, and no one's offering a safety net. The world will tell you to chase money, to chase attention, to chase applause. But Napoleon Hill knew the truth. He taught that wealth, success, achievement, they are all byproducts. They are the fruit. But purpose is the root. You can fake motivation. You can fake hustle. But you can't fake purpose. Not when life hits. Not when nothing's working. Not when you're knee-deep in rejection and doubt. Purpose is what keeps your spine straight when life tries to break you. It's what whispers keep going when your own mind begs you to stop. And here's the brutal reality. Most people aren't lost. They're just undisciplined. Because discipline is the bridge between purpose and result. It's easy to talk about purpose. It's easy to feel inspired for 5 minutes after watching a video. But purpose without discipline? That's a rocket without fuel. Potential without production. It means nothing. Discipline is the quiet force that reshapes your identity in private. Until the world can't help but notice the giant you've become in public. You don't build discipline with motivation. You build it through decisions. Tiny, invisible, powerful decisions, over and over and over again. You choose the early morning when the bed feels like heaven. You choose the book over the scroll. The reps over the rest. The long game over the impulse. Discipline is doing what must be done, especially when you don't feel like it. Because the version of you you're becoming requires it. That's the standard now. Your identity is no longer what happened to you. It's not what people said about you. It's not your failures, your past, your upbringing, or your doubts. Your identity is what you consistently do. And every act of discipline is a vote cast for your future self. That means every skipped workout isn't just missed exercise, it's a message to your brain about who you are. Every time you say, "I'll do it later," you reinforce the version of you that procrastinates, hesitates, and hopes life will get easier. But every time you do the hard thing, especially when no one's watching, you rewrite your story. You become the person who keeps promises. The person who executes. The person who doesn't need external permission to take internal command. This isn't about perfection. It's about progression. Consistency over intensity. Standards over emotion. Because feelings are liars. And if you let your feelings run the show, you'll stay exactly where you are. Wishing. Wandering. Waiting. But when your identity shifts from, "I want to change," to, "I demand more from myself," you become dangerous. Because now your goals aren't negotiable. Your habits aren't optional. Your vision isn't a fantasy, it's a blueprint. And you are the builder. This is what separates leaders from spectators. Producers from consumers. Winners from wishers. It's not willpower. It's identity powered by discipline. Think of Abraham Lincoln. Born in a log cabin. No formal education. Failures stacked so high they would have buried a lesser man. But his purpose, to preserve the Union, to free the enslaved, to elevate the idea that all men are created equal. That purpose gave him iron discipline. To lead a fractured nation. To carry unbearable weight. To become history, not just witness it. Lincoln didn't wait for motivation. He embodied mission. And that's your call now. You are not here to merely survive. You are here to execute. To build. To lead. To look in the mirror and say, I will not die the same person I was born as. You weren't given this life to conform. You were given it to transform. But transformation isn't a moment. It's a war. And every day is a battlefield between the version of you that wants comfort and the version of you that demands greatness. You decide who wins. The world will not bend for you. It will test you, break you, ignore you. It will put every obstacle in your path and whisper, let's see if you really meant it. And that's when most people stop. They think the presence of pain means the absence of progress. They believe failure is the opposite of success. But they're wrong. Failure is the training ground. The fire where your character is forged. The exam that proves whether your vision was a fantasy or a demand written into your soul. Thomas Edison didn't invent the light bulb with ease. He failed over 10,000 times. But he didn't call them failures, he called them discoveries. 10,000 ways it wouldn't work, until it did. Resilience is not bouncing back. It's rising differently. Stronger. Sharper. Unshakable. When life slams the door in your face, resilience kicks down another. When you're surrounded by doubt, resilience turns silence into fuel. When the bank account is empty, the body is tired, and the path is unclear, resilience shows up anyway. Because you've stopped asking for life to be easy. And you've started demanding that you be stronger. But strength alone isn't enough. You must be adaptable. The world is changing. Fast. And the person who clings to comfort, to ego, to outdated ideas, will drown. Adaptability is evolution in motion. It's your ability to pivot without panic. To adjust the sails, not curse the storm. When COVID locked the world down, some people waited. Others reinvented. They didn't say, I wish things were different. They said, this is the game now, so let's play at the highest level. Adaptability isn't softness. It's strategic toughness. It's how you stay in the ring long enough to win. Because truth is, most people don't fail because of one big blow. They fail from 1,000 little surrenders. They get shaken, and they stop. They get distracted, and they drift. But the masters, the few, they bend, but they do not break. They move, but they do not lose the mission. They evolve with one eye on the horizon and one hand on the wheel. Resilience and adaptability are not skills. They are commitments. Choices made in advance. You decide, before the hardship, that you won't fold. You decide, before the chaos, that your mindset is immovable. And when the moment comes, you rise, not because it's easy, but because it's who you are now. That's what inner mastery looks like. It's when the storm comes, and you don't flinch. It's when life throws its worst, and you respond with your best. It's when you stop chasing comfort, and start choosing growth. Inner mastery is the shift from emotional reactivity to emotional responsibility. You no longer let moods dictate your motion. You no longer need circumstances to align for you to move forward. You act from principle, not preference. From mission, not mood. From character, not convenience. The ancient Stoics knew this. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his journal, not for the world, but for himself, reminding his soul daily. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. That's timeless truth. Modernized now for your battlefield. You are not your distractions. You are not your failures. You are not your emotions, your likes, your notifications, or your followers. You are your standards. You are your response. You are what you do repeatedly. And if you're still wishing life would be easier, you're wasting the very muscle that was meant to forge you into something divine. This life will not hand you peace. You must build it. You must protect it like a warrior guards a flame. You must demand it from your habits, your focus, your internal language. Because when you master yourself, your thoughts, your breath, your energy, nothing outside can control you. You stop reacting. You start responding. You move with calm, with fire behind the eyes and stillness in the chest. And the world begins to feel your presence, not because you're loud, but because you're anchored. This is the point where wishing dies. Where the dreamer becomes the builder. Where the child becomes the captain. Where the version of you who begged for life to be fair is replaced by the version who builds a future no one can deny. Gratitude is not weakness. It is not passive. It is not naive optimism in the face of pain. Gratitude is power. It is the decision to focus the mind, sharpen the soul, and remind yourself, I am already standing on ground others only dream of. The problem isn't that you don't have enough. It's that you've forgotten how much you've already conquered. Think back to the moments you thought would break you. The losses, the betrayals, the silence, the debt, the loneliness. You felt like it was the end. But it wasn't. You're still here. Still breathing. Still capable. And that means you are still dangerous. Gratitude is the tool that keeps you grounded when the world spins too fast. It keeps ego in check when you win, and despair in check when you fall. You want to access your higher self. You want to attract wealth, power, peace, greatness. Start with reverence. Reverence for the breath in your lungs. For the roof over your head. For the mind that still dreams when others have surrendered. Because when you're grateful, you're not chasing out of desperation. You're building from abundance. It's not, I need success or I'm nothing. It's, I am already something. And now I build something greater. This is the shift. The upgrade. The real start of the long game. Because this isn't about the next 30 days. This is about the next 30 years. This is about who you become, not just what you achieve. Most people set goals like children, impatient, short-term, addicted to instant proof. But you're playing legacy. You're building a body, a business, a life, a mind. That holds up not just under pressure, but under time. Legacy doesn't live in your bank account. It lives in your impact. In the way people speak your name after you're gone. In the values you build into your bloodline. In the souls you awaken. Not because you told them to change. But because you became the proof that transformation is real. This is not about success. This is about becoming something that cannot be ignored. Do you understand the power of that? To become so focused, so disciplined, so relentless. That even the universe starts bending to your rhythm. Not because it's easy. But because you finally stopped wishing. You stopped daydreaming. Stopped doubting. Stopped asking for permission to live. And instead, you started demanding results. Demanding more from your habits. More from your hours. More from your circle. More from your identity. You demanded that life give you nothing, that you earn everything. Not once. Every day. Because this is what greatness requires. Belief when no one believes. Action when no one sees. Faith when the path is dark. Discipline when the fire fades. Gratitude when the progress is slow. And vision that sees years beyond the current noise. This is how average becomes fortune. How lost becomes leader. How forgotten becomes legend. And now, the final truth. No one is coming to save you. Not the algorithm. Not a guru. Not a boss. Not your past. Not your potential. The only person responsible for your future is staring back in the mirror. And the question is not, can I? The question is, will I? Will you finally rise? Will you wake up and lead? Will you become the person your younger self needed, and your future self will thank? Will you stop wishing, and start demanding? Because the world isn't changed by the talented. It's changed by the committed. By those who stop making excuses and start making decisions. Today, right now, becomes the turning point. Not someday. This day. From now on. You walk like the crown is already yours. You move like destiny is calling your name. And you build like legacy is your only language. No more hopes. No more, maybe. No more waiting for signs. It's already inside you. Now go demand it from yourself. Until the world has no choice but to give it back.